Hi everybody. Hi English 145 spring quarter students. Week 5. I can't even believe it. Here we are. You can see that we are still on the definition essay and we will be on the definition paper all this week. So let me give you the heads up on what's happening this week. You can see that my video will go right here. My screencast right in launch week 5. I've added a copy of the frequently asked questions for the definition paper, and that might help you, kind of stir some ideas and get you thinking about the paper again. Remember that in last week's module, almost everything you need for the definition paper in terms of instructions and video casts and screencasts and whatever are all in week 5. Week 4, excuse me. In week 5, I'm assuming you know they're there. Okay, so in week 5, you're writing the definition paper. You have already selected a topic, and now you are going to start writing. Okay, this is a super important link that I do want you to make sure that you click and read thoroughly. If you are going to contact me, let's say you've got a question about a grade on one of your papers, a formally graded, meaning an ABC kind of paper that has a grade on it rather than points. This gives you a good idea of what the protocol is to contact me, kind of how I handle it, how you should handle it. So really, please do read that. It helps you understand, when and how to approach your professor should you have a question about a grade after something is submitted. I've got a little link on how to use Wikipedia in college. I think it's super useful. Wikipedia is a nice jumping off place just to do a little bit of background. Nothing meaty, but certainly really a good resource for background kind of context. I've got an entire little component for you called Ways to Eliminate the To Be verbs. If you were thinking you didn't do as well as you'd hoped when you revised that student summary last week, the summary that was on this, I think it was on the cell phone surveillance, and I asked you to upgrade the students' low-level forms, and many of you just replaced them with other low-level forms. So the key to this is being able to recognize when you're being over-dependent on to be verbs, which are just merely the little helper verbs. They're not strong enough to act as a college power verb. Okay, so this whole little module plus the quiz is about an hour. All right, so I'm thinking an hour max on this little part here. I give you chapter 6 from the book, Skeptics May Object, Planting a Naysayer in Your Text, is really about how do you add a concession to your argument. A concession, of course, is admitting that there are other possibilities or other perspectives, but then kind of deconstructing it, maybe telling why it's not sufficient and why your the avenue you're addressing is more powerful. So a concession's not quite as strong as a rebuttal, but it's really just answering questions and doubts that the reader may have as they go along through your paper. They might be thinking, hey, wait a minute, what about blah, blah, blah? So it's up to you to extinguish their doubts before they even arise. And that's really what the point of a concession is, the naysayer. All right, you also have a discussion in which you're going to read a real student paper, actually from last quarter, so it's fresh off the press. And you'll get to read it with the rubric and grade it and discuss it and kind of see how you and your class perceive this definition paper. The latter half of the week, we're heading into peer editing. You're going to peer edit through Canvas, and if you've never done that before, there's a little bit of a learning curve, but you can do it. First, I want you to understand what the purpose of peer editing is. There's a quick little 4-minute read on that. I also want you to study the peer edit doc that you're going to use to peer edit your peer's paper. You must use that document. You cannot just go rogue and make comments on your peer's paper. You must use the peer edit document that I supply you because I've designed it to go with this assignment. I also added a screencast to explain the peer edit doc to you so that you can answer more rigorously and vigorously when you encounter your peer's paper. How do I submit a review? to an assignment. In other words, how this is the Canvas instructions for peer editing. If you've never peer edited via Canvas, you're going to need to read that. Here's the link for the peer edit workshop, and it tells you when you have to have the paper turned in and when you need to get it back to your peer. Think of it this way. You're